What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review stream for you guys. Obviously, we beat Bournemouth 3-2 in a crazy game at the Vitality yesterday. And you know what? First half again, same old problems. Very poor defensively. I thought Kiefer Moore was bullying Emerson Royale, bullying our defence. But again, second half, we come out with a point to prove. Yeah, I know they scored at the beginning of the second half, but the stats show it out as well. I mean, we were so much the better side. We were so dominant in that second half. But let's start off from the beginning. What went wrong for you in that first half? Again?
It wasn't a case of we were that Bournemouth were that much better than us in the first half. It was just a case of we were looking really again too slow on the ball, too ponderous, weren't really creating anything. And it wasn't like Bournemouth had loads of chances. They had the early chance literally in the first couple minutes from a corner through Kiefer Moore.
And again, then he bullied Emerson.
Yeah, that was from a corner. And then
when he hit the bar, yeah.
Yeah, it was no, did it? Oh, it was on the top of the net, hit the top of the net.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Tavernier had a chance very soon after that. He broke clear down the right hand side, cut inside, had a shot which Lloris comfortably saved, and then it was kind of even up until they got a breakaway. Really well worked counter attack, but still really poor defending. Solanke holds off Longley too easily for me. Tavernier gets a run on Ben Davis, gets breaking down the right. I think Sanchez panics a bit. I think he feels like Tavernier is getting away from Davis, and he leaves Kiefer Moore to try and deal with the situation. I think he completely panicked in that situation. Sanchez just held his position, tracked Kiefer Moore, and either back to Lloris would make the save or Davis would catch up to Tavernier. He didn't. He goes over. Tavernier's smart enough to realise Sanchez has gone over. He plays the ball early to Moore. Moore's completely free and makes it 1-0. I think it's shocking defending all round, but I think Sanchez could have alleviated the situation by just making sure Moore was completely free. Didn't do that. So 1-0 down early. So they had some chances, and then obviously once they're 1-0 down, we did obviously slightly get back in the game. We hit the post for a Son crossed it in. We hit the post. Yeah, Son has would have been known goal. Son has a Ollie skip. Has a shot on target for a well-worked chance down in the penalty area. Son, I think, on the stroke of half time had a shot from outside the box which was saved by the keeper. So we slightly got back into it, but we weren't really hurting them too much. We were just again being ponderous. There was a severe lack of quality in the final third. Bournemouth were finding it way too easy to defend against us. But we did kind of stop the chance creation from Bournemouth side in the second half of the first half. But from our side, just not good enough on the ball. And apparently, reading today, Conte was seen on the touchline screaming at Longley and Sanchez to play the ball quicker and with better accuracy on the touchline. And especially Sanchez, I just thought he was so poor. I thought he was really poor throughout the game, and I was really disappointed in it with him
and Emerson, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, no, it wasn't just him, but I was just so like defensively and on the ball, he was just all over the place, and it was really disappointing. Emerson had a lack of quality. Ollie Skip was pretty much. If we can bring up the phone for 1 sec, I'll show you what I mean.
As a right winger.
Yeah, and look at this on the phone. You can see here number 4. If you see the top right, that's number 4. That's Ollie Skip, literally playing as a right winger. Son is is a striker up front. So he's pretty much the furthest player forward. It's Harry Kane just a bit in behind. But look at the freedom Ollie Skip had to go forward on that right-hand side. Very similar to the last game as well, where he started. I can't remember which game he started, but the last game he started as well. Newcastle at home. All very similar position. He was. I don't know where. It must be a Conte instruction, because he always keeps finding himself in his position. And it's good and bad. The good thing is, he's given a bit license to break forward into the space, and we have a player who's willing to attack the space and try and exploit it. However, when he gets to those positions, he's not doing much, and that's the reality. He had one shot. He was trying. It's not like his fault totally, but there was like, if you're going to have a player in those positions finding those spaces, you want a player who's got more attacking ability than Ollie Skip. That's the reality. Although I commend Skip for continually trying to make something happen in those spaces. So I'm not unhappy with him. I'm just unhappy with the fact that he's the one we're relying on in those situations to find something.
Who would you rather rely on those spaces?
An attacking player.
Like
Lucas or Gil.
Yeah, neither of them were on the pitch at the time.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't understand why play 3-5-2 with them on the with them on the bench, and why play with Ollie skipping that role when he's pretty much like a de facto right winger. You might as well have started Gil or Lucas. That's my point.
Yeah, I get that. And Conte saw those issues at halftime, changes it at halftime. Skip goes off the pitch. Obviously, they score very early on in that second half, which was more poor defending. Emerson getting bullied once again. But after that, we get a goal back, and it was completely super control from Spurs. Bentancur comes on, and as soon as Bentancur comes on as well, like, the game completely flipped, and we were so dominant. The amount of shots we had, the amount of possession we had. I mean, Bournemouth couldn't get out of their own half pretty much for the last half an hour, 35 minutes. And I mean, Bentancur, he is turning into a serious player. He really is. I mean, we all said it last season, how we want to see him take more initiative on the pitch. We want to see him dominate those areas a bit more, not just play those backwards and sideways passes and keep the ball ticking. He's actually looking on the pitch with proper authority. He grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck by himself yesterday and drove the team forward. The amount of times he was driving forward, playing those lovely crossfield passes as well. I mean, I thought he was absolutely sensational when he came on yesterday, Bentancur.
It was funny because I think his first touch was actually like a sloppy pass out of play when he tried to find Perisic, but he kind of learned from that, and it was a really imposing display. And you don't associate Bentancur, well, we haven't anyway at Tottenham, with someone who could come on and dictate a game like that. But he did such a marvelous job in setting the tone for our attacks, speeding play up when need be, and slowing it down when maybe we were too panicked and stuff like that. So I thought he was brilliant. Obviously, he got the winning goal as well at the end. And to be fair, look at the composure it took to get that winning goal. With so many, he just had a header pretty much cleared off the line. And if you do a freeze frame of when he strikes the ball, there are about a sea of players ahead of him, and he somehow gets it right into the top of the net. That was the only place really he could have placed it, and he doesn't swing at it like other players in that situation probably snatch at that situation, just put your foot through it, but he calmly side foots it into the roof of the net, and that's the kind of finish we needed at the time.
It's also the kind of player he is. I mean, even in the edge of our box, the ball will come to him under pressure and he'll just silkily move out of it with a lovely little turn or something. I mean, he's not one to really panic under pressure, is he? He always looks like he's got time whenever on the pitch, wherever he is.
Yeah, and it was absolutely fantastic. In terms of the second half, it was funny because Sessegnon, Perisic, Dyer and Bentancur were all stripped off, ready to come on, literally just before the first goal. And then Højbjerg plays a lovely through ball into Sessegnon. He gets a run on the left back, on the right back. He gets a really good finish, and then he decides to keep Sessegnon on. He was literally about to take him off. I think that goal gave him a reprieve. It was a really good finish, and we want to see Sessegnon doing more of that. He's really good. He could be really good when he gets in those situations, but he doesn't get beyond the wing back enough and makes those kind of runs. But to be fair, brilliant pick out by Højbjerg, who we've mentioned before, is getting more goal contributions again. 7 goal contributions now this season, and it was a brilliant finish. It was a brilliant pass, and it was actually a really difficult pass to get it through about 3 or 4 players. It was really impressive by Højbjerg to get that through ball.
Yeah, it completely was, and the finish from Sessegnon was even better. But what I was more impressed with Sessegnon actually is when he moved over to that right-hand side. I thought he did miles better than Emerson did all game, miles better than probably what Emerson has showed all season. And I was really happy with Sessegnon at right wing back. Do you think that's maybe something that we should be looking at in the coming weeks now?
Or playing Sessegnon on the right and Perisic on the left, maybe. He's obviously tried to test it on the left and Perisic on the right. It wasn't like it didn't do brilliantly, but maybe that's something you can look at. I think Sessegnon's always been okay on the right. I think he did well when he for his spell, which he did. Obviously, he did get taken off later in the game. I wouldn't get too excited about it, but I think he did do well on the right hand side.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like he's got massive competition that are really playing well at the moment. I mean, Emerson, I thought was shocking yesterday. Doherty, did he even get on the pitch? Maybe really late on. No, he didn't get on the pitch, did he, Doherty? No,
he didn't. Lucas went wing back. Lucas went wing back, and Gil came on, didn't he?
Even Doherty, since like those 1 or 2 games, he's had a few poor showings now since then. And I mean, what have we got to lose by giving it a go? You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I mean, it depends if that's what Conte thinks is best for the team. I think Doherty, he played really. I remember against Everton, he played really well in that game. So if he can keep up that kind of level performance, I'd still want to see Doherty there. But Sessegnon did all right, to be fair. Got to give him credit where credit's due. He had a good game on the right side.
What do you think of Longley in that central role yesterday? Because I actually quite liked it. I mean, obviously he got caught out for one of the goals, but apart from that, I thought second half it looked really good. And when Dyer came on the right, I thought it worked actually really well.
Yeah, I think it worked well, but I don't think he either he didn't show it or I don't know what it was, but he didn't kind of have the range of passing Dyer can show in that position for me. Also, I think aerially, I don't think he was as dominant as Dyer can be in those situations. But I liked the way he was controlling our passing moves from that position, and I think actually he was pretty composed, and I think he showed he can definitely do the role. And after that early maybe mistake when they got the first goal, I wouldn't still call it a mistake, but didn't do great for that first goal. I think he learned from that and was actually pretty aggressive, especially in that second half. So I was happy with him, but I still think Dyer for me is better in that position from what I've seen. But Dyer did well when he came on the wide centre back, and obviously nearly created a chance for Son. I think he just helped calm things down. We were kind of all over the place a bit at the back, and once Dyer came on, there was a bit of calmness about us, and I don't think we conceded another chance after that.
No, we didn't. I mean, the whole game after that, the last half an hour, because Sessegnon scored in the 57th minute. We made those changes as soon as Sessegnon scored. Dyer came on, Bentancur comes on, and after that it was just literally just Spurs trying to push for a goal. The stats just speak for itself, don't they, in that second half, to be honest. I mean, 18 shots on goal, 5 shots
bring
on
him up on the
target.
phone.
7 off target, 6 block shots, 73% possession. You know what I mean? Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the second half. We were all over them. Look at 76. Yeah, as you said, 76% possession. Again, very similar to what we were saying in Sporting. A lot of possession, but also creating chances and actually having good shots as well. 2 big chances created as well. 12 corner kicks, and that's obviously where we were looking the most dangerous from the corners, which we'll get onto in a minute. But absolutely fantastic stuff from Spurs in the second half. We were all over Bournemouth, and although obviously we were all over them, and obviously we struggled to. We had to wait, to the last minute to get the winner. But I think it was deserved again. But it's just a shame. It was very, very nearly another case like Lisbon, where late rally and deservedly take the lead, but it could have also been very different. It could have ended 2-2 very easily.
We can't keep doing this. We can't keep having these first half performances where we just don't look creative enough. We look too slow. We look lackluster. We look tired, and then somehow something just clicks in that second half, and we just go all guns blazing. But you know, it's going to catch us out, and it has caught us out, and it's going to keep catching us out. We need to start playing like this, like from the start of the games, and put the games to bed, and then we can start resting and closing out the games in the second half.
Yeah, obviously I don't think it's a plan. I don't know why it keeps ending up like this, where we seem to start games slowly and then come into it later on. I'm not really sure what the case is. Is it a case of us being too pragmatic, and then once we are down, we have no other option but to kind of go for it, and that leads to a bit of risk taking, and then we can kind of show off what how we can hound teams and press them. Maybe that's the case. I'm not. It's difficult to put your finger on.
Yeah, I saw a quote from Conte yesterday talking about the first half performances, and he was saying this: the players need to implement in the first half what we practice on the training pitch every game, and we need to attack more. We don't need to be so defensive and pragmatic, is what I heard him say. So it's clearly not a plan. So why can't they follow out Conte's instructions from the beginning?
It was interesting to hear because Conte also said he was happy with the first half.
Was he?
He said, as in, I don't know if he meant with the performance, but he said, looking at the first half, I was still happy that we had good chances to win or something like that. He still, I think he kind of meant he still felt like we had the opportunity to win this game, even though the first half we were 1-0 down, and obviously we did concede the second, but. I don't know. I don't know why it keeps ending up like this, where we're. It's just very strange. how we keep ending up in a situation where we're needing goals late on. To be fair, we at the moment, like we sometimes we do get them, but it's difficult to put your finger on why we let games get to a stage where we're always behind a lot of the time, and we need to stop that from happening. Maybe it's a case that we're going to keep doing it until after the World Cup, then we can sort it out once we get a bit of a breather. But right now, games are just coming so thick and fast. It's hard to take a breath at the moment.
Yeah, it's true. But, you know, after those subs, Perisic comes on as well with half an hour to go. 10 minutes later, he gets a corner. Lovely floated ball in. Ben Davies at the back post rises above everyone and puts it into the net. Brilliant from Ben Davies. Brilliant leap from Ben Davies, first of all. But I thought he was... He was, you know, one of the culprits of one of the goals in the first half for Ben Davies. So I was happy for him to get on the score sheet because I think he needed that.
Yeah, he hasn't been great past few weeks, but I think he did all right in the end, Ben Davies. And for him to win a header as well. And there was also not just that. I think they were targeting him a lot of the time, like from goal kicks. They kept sticking Kiefer Moore on him. And second half, he actually stood up to it. And there was a few times where he was beating Kiefer Moore in the air. And I was like, oh, fair play, Ben Davies, because we all know, aerially, he's not the tallest guy, so he's always going to be targeted, but fair play to him. And then he goes and scores a header himself. So he did really step up in that second half, Ben Davies, and fair play to him. He did really well and got on a very important goal.
Now that's two set piece goals yesterday, corners. I mean, I think we're the highest set piece scoring team in the Premier League.
9 this season now,
which is unbelievable to think about. I mean, Gianni Vio has come in and completely changed things for us, hasn't he? From corners and set pieces. We're a threat in every single set piece. I know we had 19 yesterday, but you know what I mean? I mean, we're a threat at a lot of set pieces, and Perisic is obviously a big part of that. And Sonny as well. One of them, the last one from Bentancur, comes from a Sonny corner.
Yeah, Sonny gets a lot of shit for some of his corners because some of them don't beat the first man. But I actually think when he gets them right, he actually gets a really good whip on it, and it's really hard to defend against.
What's good about Sonny is his free kicks, like the ones that he needs to like whip
Cross
in
it,
and
very
you
good
know,
at them.
yeah.
Yeah, he gets really good whip on it, and a lot of the time is good accuracy as well. Gets into a really good area, so I think Son deserves more credit for those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, I think our corners, we've become the most dangerous team from corners, and I think a lot of it is not just Vio, which obviously is a massive part of it, and he obviously makes up the bulk of the different routines we do and stuff like that. But I just think the fact that Conte has built the team to be very strong in the sense that if you look at all of our players, I think all of them, maybe apart from maybe Ben Davies, I think they're all 6 foot plus, aren't they? And very strong guys.
Yeah.
Like you look at all our midfielders, Højbjerg and Bentancur, 6 foot plus. Bissouma, I know he was on the pitch, but you know we've got two strong centre backs.
Wow. What did you make out of his performance yesterday, Bissouma? Because I thought again, not great from him.
I thought he was okay, but I didn't think he was fantastic.
We're just not seeing the attributes that we saw in a Brighton shirt, are we?
Yeah, I think he's. I don't know whether it's a confidence thing or instruction thing, but he just isn't getting He isn't making sure that when he gets the ball, he's kind of charging up the pitch and doing those dribbles and maybe being a bit more progressive like he was at Brighton. I think it's just still adjusting, but at the moment, he still hasn't hit those peak performances we saw at Brighton, and maybe it's just a case of him still learning the role and learning his teammates and stuff like that. And also, you got to remember, Brighton, he played in a team who was a lot more possession-based than maybe we are, so maybe that has an effect and an adjustment period. But I don't think he was terrible, but it was just kind of meh, and that's not what we want.
That's what it's always like that we've seen with him.
Yeah, and it's just like... not great, not awful either. It's just average.
He's looked good in times, like when he's come off the bench. We've moved to a 3-5-2 and stuff like that. But whenever he started games, he's flattered to deceive more times than not, hasn't he?
Yeah, I want to see that Bissouma, who was taking games by the scruff of the neck, like he was at Brighton.
Do you think that maybe we're missing a trick with Ollie Skip and Bissouma, where maybe Bissouma should be the one that's more of the advanced player and Skip should be the one holding back a little bit more?
I don't know, because that's what, when Bissouma was at Brighton, he was the player in the middle, like kind of being like a deep lying playmaker. So I don't know if Bissouma, he's the one to charge forward and stuff like that. Whether Skip's right for that role is another question, but I wouldn't necessarily say Bissouma is the answer there for me. I don't know. Do you think he is?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if it's the answer, but I would like to see it given a go, just to see. You know what I mean? Because we don't know, and I like Ollie Skip. I like him when he charges forward, but obviously he doesn't have that much quality in those areas of the pitch where I felt like Bissouma would probably have a bit more quality about him in those areas.
Potentially, but he's never really been that kind of player, even at Brighton. But Brighton, he played in the similar areas he's playing now. It's not necessarily where he's on the pitch, it's just what he's doing in those areas of the pitch for me that is frustrating me. Not necessarily that he's at Brighton, he was a lot further forward, but like at Brighton, he was getting the ball and he was being very press resistant, and he would get past a couple of players and play players into space, and he's only shown that on occasion at Tottenham. He doesn't really do it consistently. That's my big frustration. I didn't think he was terrible though yesterday. It wasn't like he was like a massive liability.
It was just like a standard like 5 or 6 out of 10 pretty much. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
But anyway, the corner comes in the last minute of the game, 93rd minute from Sonny. Bentancur wins the header, comes off the line, comes back to Bentancur. He slots it lovely into the back of the net, and Spurs win the game. And the pandemonium in the stands. It was absolutely brilliant there yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think it was almost like expected because in a way, even though it was in stoppage time, you always kind of felt like that last goal was coming as soon as it went to 2-2. We looked on top, we looked creative, we looked like we were looking like able to create chances and putting them under pressure. It was kind of constant pressure as well, and we were penning them in. The threat of Bournemouth had long gone by the time stoppage time came around. It was always a matter of if either Tottenham were going to win it or not. Bournemouth obviously were battling for a point, and we looked like it was. Sorry, just watching Arsenal look like about to score a second. It looked like it was only a matter of time, and I think it was almost expected. I've never seen, because we scored the goal, and obviously we were delighted and there were limbs, but it wasn't like those kind of limbs where it was a complete shock. You know what I mean? It was almost like an expected goal in stoppage time, and obviously it was very important, and it showed character, and I think it showed again the character Conte's instilled in this team. I read a stat yesterday. Since Conte's come in, we've scored 4 last-minute winners, which is more than any other team in the Premier League. So fair play to this Conte team. We don't know when we're beaten. We go to the very end, which is very different to maybe in previous regimes.
When you look at, well, I mean, we had that kind of sense of feeling under Pochettino, didn't we? Where we didn't know when we were beaten. We scored a lot of last-minute goals, and the fitness was unbelievably good. Then you went back, you change it to Jose Mourinho. It was complete flip.
Yeah, we'd always concede
in the last minute because the fitness was nowhere near. But you could see the fitness coming back now within this squad, or it could be even better than it was, albeit the players are a bit older than then. But I think that you've got to give credit to the Spurs team to keep plugging away and finding those opportunities in the last minutes of games. But what do you make out of Conte and what's going on right now? All these, I know it's not part of the match review, but I think it's important to talk about the Conte and David Ornstein stuff.
What David Ornstein has said is that he believes that Conte isn't set to sign a contract anytime soon, and he's willing to wait until either near the end of the season or until the summer to make his final decision. Which
does that just keep casting more doubt and more questions and.
You could either look at it that way, or it puts more pressure on the hierarchy to make sure that Conte is going to be back to as sufficiently as he believes he will be. And Conte, as we know, ever since he's been a manager, has always looked to put pressure on the hierarchy wherever he's been. And there were talks that he was set to have contract talks over the World Cup period. That was also from reliable sources like Matt Law. Ornstein now saying he believes if there is going to be a signed contract, it is going to be later in the season. He also added that there is an option for Tottenham to extend the deal from their end, but he believes that whatever happens, it is ultimately going to be Conte's decision. So whether Tottenham have the option or not, Conte obviously is going to have the final say whatever happens. So obviously, if the longer it goes on, it's going to lead to more uncertainty. However, if Tottenham are going well, and if he is going to be, if he is going to be back, there is no reason for him to sign a contract. But obviously, there is always going to be that anxiety the longer it goes on, and the longer it goes on, and especially if Tottenham start to falter and start to wane a bit near the end of the season, that's when we're going to really see a bit of panic and a bit of anxiety. I think right now we're third in the league, going well points-wise in the league. Let's hope for a positive result on Tuesday night, and we'll be into the knockout stages. There's no reason to still be positive. I don't think that update changes too much. The only thing it changes is if you were expecting him to sign a contract over the World Cup. I never really expected it. I always expected him to hold his cards close to his chest, and I think that's probably the best way to do it with this hierarchy.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I really hope that the club listen to him, man, because if we don't, I just don't know where we're going to go after that. I really don't. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. In terms of back onto the match, I mean, there's only one candidate for player of the game, isn't there?
Called Rodrigo Bentancur.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a brilliant half an hour, and he really is. And what I like about Bentancur is what he's doing, things we've been calling for. It's not necessarily like he's working hard or anything like that, but what he is doing is adding more responsibility to his game and adding more authority to his game. So he's demanding the ball a bit more. He's actually, dribbling, taking players on a bit more. He's finding forward passes, and he's offensively wise, he's taking more responsibility on his own performance. And that's something we've been calling for a lot of the time, because too often he just plays within himself, and he keeps it too simple, and he doesn't have confidence in his own ability. And I think whether it's Conte giving it to him or he's seizing it himself, he seems to be gaining more confidence in himself in those central areas to play his own way. And he's now not just this defensive midfielder like maybe he was at Juventus, who would win the ball, keep it simple, get it to the attacking players, but he's actually taking more responsibility on the ball now. And that's what I love about Rodrigo Bentancur at the moment. And he's looking more positively on the pitch. He's looking forward a bit more. He's taking that responsibility. So I think he's growing into a bit of more of an all-round midfielder, and that's exactly what we need. And that's exactly what Conte wants from his midfielders, I think.
Absolutely, and you've got to give massive credit to Conte for the coaching that he's done on not only him but Højbjerg as well. Both of them have had sensational seasons so far, and long may it continue. I just think we need to sprinkle a bit of proper creative player in there, and then we can maybe play the 3-5-2 quite effectively.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the 3-5-2, we're just not getting Son and Kane involved. That's the biggest problem.
I thought both of them were fairly anonymous yesterday.
I think Son, to be fair, I thought he wasn't as so bad. I thought Kane was a bit more anonymous, although Kane, a lot of the times crosses were directed into him. And what you saw was he didn't win any of the balls in the box with headers, but what he was doing was drawing defenders' attention. He was leaving spaces for a lot of other players, and a lot of the time you saw once the ball was cleared away from Kane, it would fall back to a Tottenham shirt, and that was quite important. But yeah, he wasn't too involved. Other than that, I think
isn't that great for you? I mean, and obviously it's not great for Kane and Son not to be dominant in a game, but for me, I was actually really pleased that we win a game 3-2 after being 2-0 down, and Kane and Son weren't involved in pretty much all the goals.
Yeah, and it's a positive. I think obviously apart from Son took the corner for the last goal, no assists or goals from the other players, and they need to step up in those situations. Obviously it is only Bournemouth, they're going to have tougher tests, but it's very important when Kane and Son are being shackled or are not having the best game, either one of or the other, that either the system, like the wing backs, start to contribute, which obviously Sessegnon did, or players step up in big moments like getting goals from corners, getting ahead on things, creating chances from themselves, step up like Bentancur has been doing in the central areas. So yeah, I agree. It's very important that these players step up when our main two players aren't able to, and I think we're starting to see that a bit more recently, which is very, very positive, and we need that to happen because the responsibility and the reliance on Kane and Son is just far too great. Obviously, it's going to be natural, especially with Richarlison and Kulusevski injured. That obviously hurts us, but we need the wing backs and midfielders to be contributing a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, I think it was a bit of much of the same yesterday, with a poor first half and a very good second half. So happy that we got the 3 points yesterday, dug deep, got that victory. Rodrigo Bentancur with a sensational display. And we didn't even mention, I know we talked about Perisic's set pieces yesterday, but I thought he had a much improved display as well in general on that left-hand side.
Perisic, yeah. Yeah, he was a big threat for Bournemouth. He was spamming crosses in, and obviously with corners he was looking very dangerous. So I was very happy with his cameo, and that's up to 6 assists now. But 6 assists before November.
Yeah,
so he's
he's
probably going to hit 10 assists in all competitions this season. And for a wing back, that's very positive. Obviously, he needs to maybe with his finishing ability, you expect
we just haven't seen
goals.
that, have we?
We expect a few more, or at least maybe if he can get 5 goals before the end of the season.
I love that. I mean, I haven't seen a good shot from him yet in a Spurs shirt.
Yeah, but we know he has it in him, so that'll come. But he's definitely getting the assists, which is very, very positive. I'm very happy with that.
Absolutely. So I think that brings a close to our match review. Obviously 3-2 at the Vitality yesterday. Much needed 3 points, back to winning ways in the Premier League. So big up to the team yesterday for digging deep and getting those 3 points.